All right, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of YB's Collaboration Corner in conjunction with Self-Published in 30 Days podcast. I'm your host, Rob YB Youngblood. I am the president of sales for Self-Published in 30 Days, and I'm excited to be here with you today. Right now, I'm excited even more because I'm sitting with a man who has been a tremendous impact on my life. When I made the transition to full-time entrepreneurship, Ditu Kasuyi served as my coach. He helped me with my mindset to help me see things in a different perspective. It's not black, it's not white. There's always a shade of gray. And as you can see, he's rocking his gray, and I got a little bit of gray coming in. But I want to introduce you all to Ditu Kasuyi. Ditu, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great, and I'm honored to be here. I'm so happy to celebrate with you, and I always like that you're doing big things. So I like hanging out with people who are doing big things.
Well, I think it has something to do with the fact that we're both a part of the same fraternity, and our fraternity always does big things. Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. If you didn't know, now you know. Baby, like my guy Big says. But Ditu, please tell everybody that's listening, that's watching, tell us who you are. Tell us about what you got going on in terms of your business.
Okay, great. I'm Ditu Kasuyi. I'm the president and leadership coach of Kasuyi and Associates. And really, what I am, I'm a product of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I had a mother who got an opportunity to come to the United States and had to make some difficult decisions. She had 3 children at the time. She was married, to my father, but she only had a ticket for 2, her and my brother and I. And she had to come to a country. She didn't know the language. She didn't know where she was going. She did it, right? And just to fast forward the story, she started working at McDonald's, and then she got a PhD and she started teaching. She's been a lab director. And all those things were inspiring things to me. And what it really spoke to me was like, you know what? Leadership makes a difference, because I saw other folks who had similar opportunities that my mom had, and they weren't willing to make the tough decisions. They didn't have the leadership or the strength, or weren't prepared to be able to lead in the way that she led. And that led me on the path to developing a leadership coaching firm. Is like, how can I take the lessons learned from my mother, how she applied, how she made difficult decisions, how did she make the right decision, how did she have the fortitude, how did she have the vision and the willingness to organize her life to execute that vision? How can we take that and help other folks be able to do that in their lives? And thus, Kasuyi and Associates was made. And I'm really excited, Rob, because I actually went back to the Democratic Republic of the Congo last month. We were there for 3 weeks, and I really got a chance to see. I mean, it's one thing you hear about stuff, right? Mm-hmm. It's another thing to actually go. And when you talk about collaboration, our effort to go back home was a collaboration with this group called Community Empowerment Professional Partners. And so not only did we get a chance to go back, I could see family, but we also got a chance to go back and empower 2 communities in the Congo. And that's where the power of collaboration comes from.
I love it. And the fact that you jumped on that, 2 words that I love to say all the time is collaboration and empower. Obviously the show is YB's Collaboration Corner. So what does collaboration mean to you? Like, how do you define collaboration, D2?
Yeah, when I look at collaboration, I think about the word synergy, right? And synergy is when the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. It's like we have 1 + 1 now equals 3. And what most people do is most people struggle or think that the top of the mountain is independence, right? They go from being dependent, and all of us start as being dependent, right? And some of us are still dependent in certain areas of our lives. But then we work towards becoming independent, right? Which, hey, I can do some things on my own. I can make decisions on my own. I can pay my own bills. I can do a podcast on my own. I could write a particular book on my own, right? but they think that's the pinnacle. That's just one of the peaks. The top is interdependence. Is how do you work with other independent people to create something that you couldn't do individually by yourself? I mean, because if like you don't need me to come over there, Rob, and wash your car, because you can wash your car.
Right.
But you know what? If you wanted to wash 100,000 cars, you couldn't do it by yourself.
That's right.
You would need to collaborate. And so with most folks, they get stuck at just things that they could do on their own. I'm about how do we do things that we can't do on our own, and it requires that we collaborate with other folks who are also independent and who also have capacity.
I love that. I mean, that word synergy it just shows a bonding, right? So it's like, you know, when you think about synergy, I hear the word energy, right? So it's like being able to pull our energy together to make an even greater energy that makes a significant impact. And I love the analogy about the 1,000 cars. I may have to borrow that. I'll give you your credit the first time I say it, but after a while it'll be mine. But so Ditu, when you think about the collaboration, so you talked about, you know, traveling to the Republic of the Congo as a result of the collaboration. Talk about what collaboration means to you from the perspective of the work that you do. Like let's go deeper in terms of the collaborations that you have been a part of, and how has it made a difference in your business?
Well, when I think about collaborations, most of the collaborations that I have been built over time. And this is the thing that, you know, this is part of what we do in our coaching business, is in order to collaborate, you have to bring something to the table. Right? The foundation of collaboration is that people are coming together all with something to add. Now we don't always have the same thing. And so sometimes people won't collaborate because they don't understand what they bring to the table. They don't have a good awareness of, you know, what their superpower is. They're trying to bring the same superpower someone else is bringing, or it's just the wrong type of collaboration. And so in my life, the collaborations have worked well for me because I've really been associated with people who brought different things to the table that add to what I bring to the table. So for instance, you know, I was national president of Urban Financial Services Coalition. And the reason I became national president was because I had a vice president. I had a woman that I wanted to work with. And I'm gonna tell you, you know, her name is Adrian Whitaker. She's smarter than me. Of course, she's prettier than me. And on top of that, you know, she has a lot of great skills. And so when I thought about saying, you know what, I want to be able to add value to hundreds of folks, thousands of folks across the United States in the financial services space. Who do I need to have on the team? And what do they need to bring to the table? I thought about Adrian, but I didn't think about Adrian just out the blue. I worked with Adrian over 5 to 10 years where we built up a trust and a bond and an intimate knowledge of what she brings to the table, and how me working with her, how we could create something bigger than what I could do by myself. So just to recap really quickly, is that collaboration starts with knowing yourself, right? Knowing what you bring to the table, how that shows up, and then how that looks when you collaborate with other folks. So it's finding the right collaboration partners. And that collaboration partnership, sometimes you can find someone instantly. Other times it's things that you have nurtured over time, and you can build up a level of trust, because there is trust involved with collaboration. So let me break down trust really quickly for you, Robert.
Yeah, for sure.
When people think about trust, they just think it's just a word. No, when you break down that word trust, there's two parts of trust. One is competence, and the second is character, right? So the person that you want to collaborate, do they have the character to do the right things in the relationship? Because when you're collaborating for folks, there's some stuff that you're gonna have to trust that they know how to do it.
That's right.
Not because they say they can do it, but they've actually shown that they have the ability to do it. And then the second part is the character, right? So trust is the competence. Do they have the ability? The character is, will they make the right decisions for the right reasons?
Yeah.
For what we decided that we're going to work together. And so many,
Yeah.
right? Well, all we have to do is listen to any of your famous R&B groups, right? What do they always talk about? Somebody done them wrong.
That's right. You lied to me. You lied to me.
You said you were going to do this, but
That's
you didn't
right.
do that.
That's right.
Like most business deals go bad.
Yeah.
Right now, they don't have good folks working,
Yeah.
but the people don't trust. Someone said they were going to do this, but they didn't do it, or
Yeah.
they took something for themselves, and it just messes up the collaboration.
Well, I got to add another C to that, right? So you got the competence, you got the character, but then I also believe that trust is currency.
Yes.
Right? So trust is currency. I'm on this thing where I'm talking about visibility, credibility, and profitability, right? So trust, it comes from credibility, right? But it's also currency, because at the end of the day, there's doors that'll open up because people trust you.
Absolutely.
Or those doors will open up because they trust somebody else, and because of that trust, you're now in the door. You know what I'm saying? So that it's really a sense of currency. So I definitely would add that as well. I think that's great. As we begin to land the plane, Ditu, talk about who do you want to collaborate with? You talked about Adrian, so you position yourself to, become a part of the organization, and, you're working with Adrian. But as you look to the future in terms of what Kasuyi and Associates is doing in terms of the leadership training, who do you want to collaborate with? Who, if you had to identify people, let's say they're listening to this podcast right now, that you would want to collaborate with, who would those people be? Or what type of people would they be?
Well, we work with folks who want to go to the next level. That's the first thing. My gift is not the gift of working with folks that you have to convince that they got to do something.
Right.
Right. That's that I don't have a special place for that. I have a special place, a special superpower with folks who say, you know what? And whether you're a business owner, you're trying to take your company to the next level. You had a business idea and you got 1 or 2 employees now. You used to do it yourself, and now it's like, oh man, I got 2 or 3 employees, or 5 employees, 6 employees. I got to go to the next level. Now I need to get things done, not through myself, but through the people that I have on staff, or the people that I hire. Right. Those are perfect clients for me, because then I show them how they can collaborate and use the gifts and talents with the folks around them. I also like to work with executives who are, they want to move from being a frontline supervisor to a manager of managers. Different skill set. You start to change how you value your time and how to utilize the resources at that leadership level. Most people think that leadership is all the same at all levels. No. Depending on the level that you are, you value your resources and time differently. When you're a frontline supervisor, you spend more time working, with the folks. And sometimes you're a little player coach. But when you become a manager of managers, now you have to kind of work through the manager, because otherwise you're going to undercut the manager, and you're going to diminish their ability to effectively lead their team. So, those are the 2 folks I really like to work with, is business owners, who already have some staff, and then, leaders who are want to start learning how to manage, other leaders. Those are great target markets for me.
I love it. So one of the questions that I love to ask folks who come on to YB's Collaboration Corner, as you know, we're affiliated with Self-Publishing 30 Days. It's a Self-Publishing 30 Days podcast. So Ditu, if you had the opportunity to go anywhere in the world to write your best-selling book, where would you go? Any place in the world. Any place in the world. If I was cutting the check, and I said you could go anywhere you want to go in the world to write your best-selling book, where would you go?
Robert, that's a hard question. I've been on 5 of the 7 continents. I do not plan to go into Antarctica. So Australia is the last one on the list. And so if I had to pick, I think I would go to Lake Mukamba, right? Lake Mukamba is in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It's about 60 miles from Bujumbura, which is diamond capital of the world. This lake is shaped like a woman. So if you were to go from the top, from a plane and see the lake, it's shaped like a woman. And so it's so peaceful out there. And you see potential unbridled. You see folks just diving in the lake. They're just thinking about opportunity and possibility. So if I had to write, I want to be in a place where there's no limits, right? And where people are thinking about possibility. That's what I would write my book.
I love it, man. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure talking to you, my good brother. Please let the people know how can they find you. Should they have a desire to collaborate with you? They love what you're talking about. You're speaking to their spirit. How can the people find you, Ditu?
Yep, they can find me by going to KasuyiAssociates.com. That's my website. Or you can look me up on LinkedIn, and you can just go to Robert Youngblood's profile, go down there and find me and his contacts and relationships. But KasuyiAssociates.com, send us a message or email or sign up for our newsletter. We'll be happy to find ways to collaborate with anyone.
Excellent. You've heard from one of my favorite brothers who's been in my life, man, over 20 years. We go way back like thumbtacks. And so I really appreciate this, brother. Listen, you are listening to the YB's Collaboration Corner, which is affiliated with the Self-Publishing 30 Days podcast. I am your host, Rob YB Youngblood, president of sales for Self-Publishing 30 Days. I want you to remember something. I want you to be encouraged, be blessed, but most of all, continue to share the faith. And the way that you do that is by walking in your gift, because your gift will make room for you. We'll see you next time. Peace.